DIY.
DIYers, here we are, only 2 days away from the release of the highly anticipated, long-awaited album from the Clipse, Let God Sort 'Em Out. And damn it, I know that we really mean it. When we reporting this story, most of us really mean that. And it's not just a cliche thing to say. Look, they sat down, the Clipse sat down with Elliott Wilson, who has been very vocal about why you rappers are not coming down and sit down with the real journalists, the experienced journalists. And not only did the Clipse address that, of why they chose to go that route, because they've done that with a few of their interviews, but they're also talking about a few other things related to the album. Specifically, Pusha T talks about why he calls out Kanye's leadership and why he thinks is utter trash. They talk about that. They also talk a little bit about why they chose Kendrick and stuck by it, even though it caused a little bit of issues, obviously, a lot of issues, expensive issues with UMG. But I got some things timestamped. Let's go over it. This is on Hip Hop DX. Shout out to Elliott Wilson. Deservingly so, got this sit down with the Clipse while they are boiling hot. Let's see what they got to say. Let's start off with the journalism take.
Elliott, I be feeling you, man. I feel you, man. I be feeling your pain. I be feeling your pain. I know what it is, man. I know what it is, you man. Know, right? I be feeling you, man.
They content create. I despise that. I create content,
and they tries that.
Yeah, I think you wrote that one for me.
Yeah, you know it.
I think that might have been for me.
But. Man.
Not putting me down, like helping me.
No, I feel you.
Echoing me.
Echoing your sentiments.
Yeah. It's funny because remember I went crazy with the streaming Nicki Minaj thing.
Yeah.
But think about it now. It's like, that was ahead of its time. That was a big moment. And I reacted to that in this sort of like a visceral way. And it's just like.
You be right, Elliott.
Thank you,
be
brother.
Right.
Thank you, brother.
Don't listen. I don't
That's why
nobody.
Look, shout out to Elliott. I know that had to feel. I mean, not that he needed because he's a veteran, he's a legend in this game, but I know that got to feel good because the beginning of 2025, they is kicking this man back in. Golly. He was very critical about these rappers that only sat down. Is Elliott in here? Shout out to Elliott Wilson one time. I didn't even see he's in here. They were very critical. He was very critical of rappers that did not come to sit down with the actual. There we go. Shout out to Elliott Wilson. Round of applause. We salute our legends around here. Fucking right we do. We salute our legends around here because you opened a door that allowed us to have the kind of stories we do today. Look, you were at one point in time, Elliott Wilson, that was our exposure to what hip hop journalism looks like, is reading actual magazines and seeing what that looked like. So no matter what the internet try to do and try to rewrite history and tell you how to do your job, salute to you, bro, because I felt like this needed to happen and I'm glad it did with the Clipse. But I think it takes a certain level of maturity, right? A lot of these artists, I think, are learning through the Clipse right now of the benefit of sitting down with folks who actually care about not just the things that are going to get clicks, because we got a job to do, but sitting down and talking about the music and the DNA of the music that you work so hard. Imagine working on an album for 9 to 10 months just to sit down with somebody that wants to talk about your dating life for the last 3 months. But what about the thing that makes... So, I know this is very important to have this conversation.
Gave Hell Have No Fury to Double XL. Yeah. That's why you guys love me for life. Hell Have No Fury.
That's right. Yeah.
Hope we shoot this bonus kid. You shooting in this? Okay,
yeah. Nah, you be right, bro.
Start.
You be right.
I can't believe you guys is the brothers, the Thornton brothers, man. I don't think I've ever interviewed Malice. It's an honor, man.
Really?
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I don't think. I've seen people try to be critical of you and they'll say, well, why can't, Push says it so clearly in the music, why does he then feel the need to do press and speak on these things in such a way? Like, is saying it in the music, which is already like, oh shit,
right.
You know what he just said enough? But you also love to me, you've always been a person that's been embraced by the right people in the press.
Right.
And want to express yourself through that platform. Can you talk about why it's also important not to just have the music do all the talking for you?
Because I feel like that was a part of the era and time in which we came into. Like I love the hip hop information.
Yeah.
And I like speaking to people who I feel like are well versed in talking about the craft.
One time for that.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and
I think what's happening right now is that there's a lot of rappers who either because of their own stubbornness, their own arrogance, their own ignorance, or because the labels didn't apply pressure to them to do these type of runs. I know there's a lot of rappers out here who would love to have a rollout like this, and they'd be willing to jump on these podcasts and have all these conversations and be great orators in the process. But I know there's a lot of rappers who are like, I don't want to do all that shit. I worked all that on the music. Y'all do that. That's y'all job. And that's unfortunate because we're missing out on so many stories that are going to be important moving forward as we start to engage in the music, as we start to see what happens after the music, go to the shows. These stories matter. And I think there's a lot of artists who feel like just because something is not necessary in terms of getting more streams, getting more views, because it's not necessary to do this kind of press, that it's not valuable. And that's just not the truth. So what he's saying makes a lot of sense in that this is needed, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think that I think so many people aren't well versed in talking about the craft. So many people aren't well versed in, like, you know, in these platforms, the artistry in journalism is not, you know, it's not a lot to me. We've been very, very intentional about who we were sitting down with. And, you know, honestly, because it's so much shit that goes on with us, I got to speak to people who are, you know, that the public even is going to look at and be like, you can't bullshit them. And they know that this is just a true conversation because there's so much wild shit that happens, you know, and then by the time you say the shit that's so just egregious and people can't believe it's happening, then by the time you look on the internet and the bots and the fake talk and the behind the scenes, you know, just you know, them trying to save face, and they can because the internet is loud.
Yeah.
You know what something I just thought about right now? Another reason why you probably don't have them sitting down to talk with journalists. You made up a story in your music. You're not telling the truth in your music. What you finna sit down and talk about? It's not like you could present yourself as a fiction, as an author who creates fiction. It's not like you could do that. Like, if you were an author that said, I create fictional music, you could talk about your writing process. You could talk about the movies that inspired the characters. But when you're in a place where you gotta be authentic and your music and your stories are not authentic, it's like very surface level. What the hell you finna sit down and talk to Elliott about? Now, that's no disrespect to Elliott because I'm sure he'll find great talking points. But what do they have to bring? And he says something else. They're well versed in their craft. If you don't know what the hell you doing and you kind of got lucky, you probably don't want the general population to know that you don't know what the shit you doing. Just a thought. So the Clipse are very unique in this. Pusha T is very unique in this because I think he has a very unique understanding in how to answer these questions in a way that are very clippable and create other content from it, aka the stuff we're doing right now.
And those platforms are allowed. Journalism and real journalists have been to my benefit because it shows that, like, you know, it just shows that, like, it's what I'm saying is real. I don't, you know, I'm not gonna. You could never usually mask the interviews or the conversations and have that pair with like a #1 record and people just, you know, that hasn't been for me. So
imagine that. Great writers like Malice and Pusha T inspiring other great writers in journalism to not only write think pieces and not only write things that are inspiring, enlightening, but also inspiring them to ask questions that go below the surface because you know that they're willing to go there based upon the quality of their songwriting. Like, this is a give and take. If an artist has nothing to give and is not willing to be as open about their art form, What you sitting there talking to these niggas about? Like, with all due respect, what are we sitting here talking about? What kind of liquor was you drinking when you made this song? Why you like it? Is it because it got a limited taste to it? What are we talking about? So it starts with the product. It starts with the art for sure.
So that's how I've always looked at just the journalism side of it.
Yeah.
For me, that's what even with Hell Hath No Fury, specifically the PR and the journalism side of it has always been to our benefit, an asset for us.
And that's important, right, Malice?
Absolutely. Just networking, speaking with the right people, knowing that our story, because we always have a behind the scenes story.
Yes.
And if you
that y'all can sit on for a goddamn year. How do y'all do that? Like,
yeah.
Well, shout out Frazier Tharp, fellow journalist, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Did an amazing job. And what I loved about that too, sorry to interrupt you, Malice,
No, go ahead.
is it made people read something. Like, because we're so video driven now.
Yeah.
But that story you told, revealing for the first time, the differences of what happened with the project, why it didn't come out last year, sitting with Frazier, who's a great journalist at GQ. I love that written word story carried that power and showed the power of journalism in a sense, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
But that's what you were speaking to earlier.
No, I was just saying that we always have a real story, and it's like if you're not speaking with the right people, it will get skipped over or whatever. So
breezed over.
Yeah, it'll get breezed over. But like our story, even coming back, it just reminds me of everything that we've been through. The label drama.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the story of the clip so good. Just, I guess, the hardships, the journey, everything that we have to fight through just to be seen and heard.
Yeah, correctly. I love this album so much.
I was going to say, one thing I think that's really important that's happening right now with the way that this music is being presented, the way that this rollout, we keep talking about the rollout because it deserves to have a conversation. But the one thing it's doing is that it's ensuring that the clips get their proper roses, right? No disrespect to Akai Sinat, but the way that conversation went down with him and Wale, even if he wasn't aware, that you're in an environment full of people who have been doing what they do and what they're known for a lot longer than you have. And with maturity, you'll understand, like, even if you're not up on game in the moment, there's a certain level of respect that you have where you don't just, oh yeah, who's that? Like, there's a certain level of respect that you have as you walk into these environments. I look at this and I realize how unfortunate would it have been, and this is no disrespect to anybody at Def Jam, how unfortunate would it have been if they got the same rollout as a lot of these artists have been getting over the last 4 or 5 years, and they did a few of the same old interviews. They went to some streaming, some of the streamers' houses, and they didn't talk about shit except for what they had on. A group like the Clipse, who we haven't heard from together in almost 16 years. Imagine how unfortunate it would be if we sitting here having conversations about shoes and laces. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that that's not something that Pusha T wouldn't want to talk about, but it's like, dog, we don't get groups like this. This is one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time. Not only have they earned this type of coverage and this type of rollout, they've earned the respect for media to reflect that, or for their rollout to reflect that. To me, this feels like when you get an athlete who gets like that final, that final celebration before they retire. I'm not saying that they're anywhere near retiring, but this is the kind of love that should be given to a legendary group. It happens in rock all the time. And it should be more roses for artists like this, especially legends like the Clipse. With that said, let's get to this other part, man, because, sometimes the legends don't be acting like legends. What you mean by that, Curtis? Shout out to Elliott for asking the questions. Push didn't like Ye's leadership. Thank you for asking this, Elliott, because he so casually stomped a mud hole in Mr. West. Legends don't be legending sometimes. Peep this.
Navigate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just navigate, never complain about nothing, and you just find a way to, to persevere and overcome.
And have your moment when you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even you being critical of Kanye at first when I read the article with Frazier, and then you know, songs like, it's just kind of shocking to hear you get to this point where you're willing to say, you know what, I can't deal with this guy anymore. Like this is the end of this. Like I was part of this. I appreciate my time with this. It helped my career. It was great. I contributed a lot myself.
We helped each other though.
Exactly.
Look at that look in his face. Stop what you're doing and look at this look in Pusha T's face. That right there that's the difference between him and other people in this industry that say they stand on business. Look at the way he looking at Elliott Wilson right now. If you missed it, he asked him, he said, he didn't ask him, but he was kind of glossing over some things and saying, you know, he's been very beneficial to your career and you contributed. He said, hold on. I did for him as well. Wasn't malicious. No malice. Peep this out. This shit had me. I was watching this earlier. I was like, oh. I wanted to apologize. I didn't even do shit.
That's what I'm trying to. My time with this, it helped my career. It was great. I contributed a lot myself.
We helped each other though.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly.
Everybody got to understand that we helped each other. It's never, nobody just helped me. Ever.
Grown man
like,
business.
you know, we did good business.
Yeah. Great business.
Very good business.
Yeah.
He has not broke eye contact the entire time. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start doing that with people who meet me in person. Hey man, I F with your YouTube channel. I do too. That's why I show up daily for it. Okay, bro. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna do that. They were like, yeah, asshole. But I'm just saying, you see the intensity? This is not playing. He is not playing. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, that energy.
And I'm talking about from my beautiful dark to here.
Hello.
We did good business. I did the best business, to be honest. So,
It just got to a point where you felt that wasn't appreciated.
Not putting the I in DIY. There you go.
DIY.
DIY. Did you hit the like button? Hey, yo, DIYer, if you're enjoying this content, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps this video and this channel get discovered by new people. I appreciate you. Now back to the video.
1,000%.
Did it work?
You didn't appreciate my business. And it gets into that, and it gets into just the, I'm from a, I came into this with my brother, and I'm from a world and a culture of like a certain level of loyalty that we don't,
Play with.
we win together, we lose together, we do it's together, and it's fine. And amongst the gang, we have that comfort that
I didn't even think about that until right now, in that the pivot that Pusha T had to make when everything started happening behind the scenes with the Clipse, and it eventually led to No Malice taking a break from music, taking care of their moms, and then also eventually getting into like the Christian hip hop space. Pusha T then goes into a pivot where, after they've already dealt with label situations since way back as early as the Funeral song that they did together, like they've always dealt with some kind of issues. Now he's pivoting and he's getting into an environment where he's working with a Kanye West. It's not like he's going in there and saying, save me. He's saying, I've already done something and now I'm doing something different. And I think that we could do something that is mutually beneficial in terms of business. It might make your patience wear a lot thinner than most people who go in there and need this opportunity to be something. This man came in wanting to do music with his brother, and now I'm dealing with your ass and your loud mouth, Mr. West.
that this is what it's gonna be forever, and this is how we gonna carry it forever. And he doesn't carry it like that. He never has carried it like that. But it's a culture. Like, I had to leave from out of that fold because it's a culture he's created a culture of that type of business and attitude amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
you don't like his leadership.
I hate his leadership.
Damn.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth. And I'm gonna tell it.
If rappers gave more direct answers like this, they wouldn't have to do none of the silly shit they do to go viral. You notice this whole time, like it wasn't even a few months ago when this nigga Kanye was glitching every 12 seconds. He didn't even have to know you, and he was responding to you with some wild shit on Twitter. Ain't it kind of crazy how quiet he been? He know that energy. Kanye know this energy because he probably was one of the people that was like, you ain't finna talk to me like that. First of all, grown man business. Yay! I'll be down.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I only like his music.
Mm-hmm.
I like his music. Like, and I like we bond on we bond in the nostalgia of what we like musically.
Mm-hmm.
But hell no, I don't like his leadership. Fuck no. Are you kidding me?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I applaud the honesty. I applaud the honesty because, damn it, I know that he's probably wanted to say these things for a very long time, but as the music industry works, you have to be careful and strategic about when you say these things, where you say these things. I can't imagine how frustrating it would be to, after you make your pivot from being in the group situation and you're doing your solo, you're focusing on your solo career, and you're doing business with this gentleman that seems to be inconsistent from a public point of view, inconsistent with his relationships, inconsistent with his commitments, inconsistent with his points of views. And this person is also going back and forth of whether or not he wants to be cool with somebody that their manager accused of censoring his music after their battle. It feels like a different energy because I'm sure he's probably been holding on to this for a long time. Somebody told me one time, I'm going to church with you. Somebody told me one time, sometimes God don't give you the platform. Sometimes God don't let you tell your side of the story because he has a better platform for you to tell it on. And I love the fact that this is happening right now with one of the most legendary journalists in Elliott Wilson, with the whole the majority of hip hop focused on what they're doing. I love that he gets to tell this story right here uninterrupted. This is the platform that it had to happen on. He could have said this in a tweet 4 years ago. We would have forgot about it. This shit had to happen. Interesting.
No way. No way. He ain't no leader.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he ain't no leader.
And speaking of
He
business,
just make good music.
I ain't gonna hit the button. I feel like that word was the button. I'll be down. Damn. All right, Pusha. What else you gotta say, Pusha T? Oh man. Somebody said somebody in the comments said it down here, and I agree. Shout out to Down to Earth. She said, watching Pusha talk while sitting next to Malice really brings out his little brother energy. Yep. Pusha's energy seems so much more brighter and lighter when he's around his big brother, and Malice plays the stoic protector beautifully. That is the dynamic. In this last timestamp that I have for you, he speaks about the decision to work with Kendrick. I mean, obviously that's a no-brainer, but what he says specifically about why, and Elliott asked a great question in terms of if it was influenced by the year that he's been having, and he's like, no, it's for this reason and this reason number one. Check it out.
At all there.
yeah, it's interesting because people think like, you had your historic battle with Drake, then Kendrick and Drake engaged. So
Yeah.
it's like, people always feel, what does Pusha think it is? But in the day, you do end up getting pulled into it by having Kendrick on this record, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But why is the choice of that? Were you inspired for how he was moving triumphantly as an MC? Like, what made you want to put him on the record?
Kendrick is a top level lyricist.
Hello.
Who we can only have top level lyricists on a Clipse album. You got to be a top level lyricist. You have to be a somebody who has their own lane. You got to be legend status.
Yeah.
You got to be up and coming new, but people can
God
see
cooks. Yeah,
you can
something
see
unique,
the
special.
fucking what's special.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It wasn't even nothing. I mean, you've heard it now.
Imagine rappers that set standards for themselves. And not just rappers, but imagine the ones that do it after their legend has already been established. The Clipse is already who they don't need to do anything to prove anything to anybody in hip hop, at least. But imagine in that point saying this right now. No, we have a standard for our albums. I don't care that, and it's so against what I feel like has been pushed as a narrative in hip hop the last X amount of years, because there were so many legends, so many OGs that were compromising their art so that they could work with somebody that was going to give them motion on social media. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these collaborations didn't make no fucking sense. If you don't get Lil Yachty's "I Need to Blow My Nose" voice off your lyrical ass song, it don't make no sense. Not even from I'm a fan of yours and I don't want you to do it. It don't make no sense. Conceptually, they're not even sticking to the subject. It don't add nothing except for eyes, views, and vanity metrics. He says, nah, you can't get on this album. But I got 1 million followers. You can't get on this album. You can't get this interview. But I got 400,000 people. You can't get this interview because you're not going to honor it with the integrity it deserves. I love that. That's a code.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, you know that it was only optics.
Yeah.
This shit wasn't about about nobody jumping.
Lil Yachty spit on that. What you say? He spit on that jid though. Hey, yo, whoa. I was going to say something. I'm going to leave it alone. Continuing.
Out the window on anybody or anything like that. It was the mere optics of Clipse with Kendrick coming out on Def Jam under UMG. Yeah. They weren't going to deal with that while this whole lawsuit situation was going on.
Nah, brother, you're a little bit too late for that. Pause. It's too late for that, Mr. Steve. Biko. Nah, it's too late for that. Let's talk about it though. That's the last that I have of those clips though. Man, first of all, shout out to Elliott Wilson. He came through here today. Shout out to the Clipse. You should definitely go watch the full interview because we definitely get to hear more from Malice. But this dynamic is working well. And I want to make sure I say this before the narratives get to changing things. I saw something that was really dope. Because for the longest, you know the internet. If you can't find a funny way to get your point across sometimes it gets lost and it falls on deaf ears. But somebody said, for the people who are so concerned with, well, they're doing all of this promo and it only gets 40,000 sales. First of all, because their distribution is not through, because their distribution, that the distribution deal that they have with Roc Nation is not going through a Universal. It's not going through this. This is considered an independent album. So whatever they do, they're putting themselves in the best position as businessmen to recoup from the music that they've put so much work into. Not to mention what they're going to do on touring, not to mention what they do with their merchandise. It's a better situation. So before the internet tries to sit here and create a narrative around, they only did 170,000 sales. I don't know what they're going to do. It doesn't matter. Somebody said this and I thought it was funny. Stop listening to music with a calculator.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth and I'm gonna tell it.
Some of y'all sit there and you be listening to music with a calculator. You be listening to music with a calculator. Not headphones. Not your ears. You pull out a calculator and you count sales to determine if something was a success. I encourage those of you that are hip hop fans, first of all, Clipse fans, second of all, lyricist fans, third of all, I encourage you, do not get involved in these conversations with these dodos. Because if that's all that they're basing this on, the point is going to be missed. We are having a conversation about a group, a legendary group that made their name in the early 2000s, then took a 16-year break. And in hip hop, if you've already had your moment based upon this industry, good luck seeing that moment in a mainstream light again. If you're getting your moment again, it's probably because you became a streamer. It's probably because you're gaming, not because of the music. But to create music that is so high quality, lyricism that is so elite that it has people having the conversation around their music in a way that seems to be reserved for an up and coming and a new artist, that right there is an accomplishment all in itself. Not to mention we're getting new music, and isn't that what we're here for? Isn't that what we're here for? I'm excited. I don't care what the numbers look like. You can't tell me that this was not a success, top to bottom, no matter where it lands in terms of the sales. Just try not to get stuck in that conversation. I hope that rappers around their age group, rappers approaching that age group, I hope you're watching. Everybody's not going to have a situation like the Rock Nation situation. Everybody's not going to have marketing dollars like they got, but there's something to learn here. The music can't do all the talking, but it does start with high quality music. Once you have the product, it should be evergreen enough to where you can sit on it like they've been sitting on it for the last year, and it still is more relevant than most of the stuff that's dropping every day. Why? Because they prioritize quality over quantity. How you feeling? 2 days away. I guess depending on when you watch this, you more excited? Or are you just like, let's just get to the music, I'm over it? Let me know down below in the comments. DIYers, those are my thoughts. You let me know what you thinking. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.